The ocean stretches endlessly around us, a vast expanse of blue, shimmering under the midday sun. I stand at the ship's railing, feeling the warm breeze on my face, and for a moment I allow myself to believe that everything is perfect. My wife Emily is beside me, her hand resting lightly on mine. She smiles, a smile that still takes my breath away, and I feel that familiar pang of disbelief that she's mine. We've only been married for a few weeks, and this honeymoon cruise feels like the culmination of a fairy tale. I've spent years looking for someone like her, someone who could see past my flaws and love me for who I am. And now here she is, this stunning, vivacious woman who seemed to fall into my life like a miracle. I was never the guy women noticed. I worked hard, made my money, but love? That always felt just out of reach. The ship rocks gently, a rhythm I've grown used to over the past few days. We've explored different ports, tasted exotic foods, and danced under the stars. At night, in the privacy of our cabin, the world outside fades, and it's just the two of us. Her touch is intoxicating, her whispers addictive. It's as if she knows exactly how to unravel me, how to make me feel like the only man in the universe. She's the kind of woman who makes you forget about everything else, makes you want to give her the world. And I'm more than willing to do that. But there's a nagging voice in the back of my mind, a tiny flicker of doubt that I can't seem to extinguish. I brush it off, telling myself it's just the remnants of old insecurities. Emily's perfect, and maybe that's what scares me. She's too perfect, too everything I've ever wanted. Sometimes when she thinks I'm not looking, her expression changes. It's fleeting, a shadow passing over her face, but it's enough to make me wonder, is she really happy, or is there something she's not telling me? This morning I noticed her sitting alone on our balcony, staring out at the ocean with a distant look in her eyes. When I asked her about it, she brushed it off with a laugh, telling me she was just lost in thought. I wanted to believe her, but something about the way she said it felt off. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe I'm just paranoid, letting my mind create problems where there aren't any. I push the thoughts aside as we head back to our cabin. I need to focus on the here and now, on this beautiful woman who chose me, who promised to spend the rest of her life with me. Everything is fine. Everything has to be fine. But as I watch her walk ahead of me, a part of me can't shake the feeling that something is just slightly out of place, like a painting hanging crooked on the wall. The night is quiet, almost too quiet. I'm lying in bed. The gentle rocking of the ship usually lulls me to sleep, but tonight, something feels off. Emily is on the balcony, her silhouette barely visible through the sheer curtains. I can hear her voice, soft, almost a whisper. I'm about to drift off when I catch a snippet of her conversation. "He doesn't suspect a thing," she says, her tone dripping with confidence. I freeze, my heart thudding in my chest. Of course, it's all for the money. He's so easy to manipulate. I sit up, every muscle in my body tensing. My mind races, struggling to process what I've just heard. Emily's laughter drifts through the air, light and carefree, as if she's discussing something as mundane as the weather. But the words that follow shatter any illusion I had left. I'll get pregnant, and then it's only a matter of time before I have everything. The house, the accounts, it'll all be mine. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. My breath catches in my throat. My vision blurs. I want to burst through those doors, demand answers, but my legs are frozen. I'm paralyzed by the sheer weight of her betrayal. This can't be real. I must have misunderstood. But deep down, I know I didn't. Every word is seared into my brain, each one like a cut from a knife. "Yeah, he's a good guy, but that's his problem," she continues, her voice sickeningly sweet. Good guys are always the easiest to play. I swallow hard, bile rising in my throat. How could I have been so blind? How could I not see this coming? I've always prided myself on being a good judge of character, but with her, I was completely duped. Everything we've shared, every tender moment, every passionate night, it's all been a lie. I inch closer to the balcony door, careful not to make a sound. My heart pounds in my ears, drowning out everything except her voice. "It won't be long now," she says almost gleefully. "Once I'm pregnant, I'll start setting things up. By the time he realizes what's happening, it'll be too late." I clench my fists, my nails digging into my palms. The room feels like it's closing in on me. I've never felt so powerless, so utterly defeated. I want to scream, to tear this facade apart, but I can't. Not yet. I need to think, to figure out my next move. If I confront her now, I'll lose any chance I have of turning this around. I need to be smart about this, just like she's been. I force myself to lie back down, my mind racing as I try to piece together what little sanity I have left. I hear her end the call, the sound of her footsteps as she re-enters the room. My back is to her, but I can feel her eyes on me, can sense the smirk on her face. She climbs into bed, her body warm against mine, and I fight the urge to recoil. She nuzzles against my neck, her breath soft and even. "Are you asleep?" she whispers. I don't trust myself to speak, so I fake a soft snore. She laughs quietly, kissing my shoulder before settling in. My skin crawls where her lips touch me. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I thought I loved, is a complete stranger. But I have to keep up the act. For now. Morning comes too soon, the sunlight filtering through the curtains like an unwelcome intruder. Emily is already up, humming softly as she gets dressed. I watch her from the bed, pretending to be groggy with sleep. She's beautiful, there's no denying that. But now all I see is the monster behind the mask. "Good morning, sleepyhead," she says, her voice bright and cheerful. It's like nothing has changed, but everything has. "Morning," I mumble, forcing a smile. My mind is already working overtime, trying to figure out my next steps. I need to gather information, find out just how deep her deception runs. I can't trust her, but I also can't let her know that I'm on to her. Not yet. She leans down to kiss me, and I force myself to reciprocate, even though the taste of her lips now feels bitter. "What do you want to do today?" she asks, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. "Whatever you want," I say, my voice steady. I can't let her see any cracks in the facade. Not now. The day drags on, each moment a torturous exercise in pretending everything is fine. We explore the ship, dine at the elegant restaurants, even dance under the stars. She's all smiles and laughter, playing the part of the loving wife perfectly. But now I see it for what it is, an act. Every touch, every kiss is calculated, part of her plan to reel me in further. That night, as she sleeps soundly beside me, I lie awake, my mind racing. I know I have to act, but I don't know how. My thoughts are a jumbled mess of anger, betrayal, and desperation. I can't confront her, not without proof, not without a plan. I need to be careful, strategic. I need to outsmart her at her own game. The next few days are a blur of anxiety and tension. I start watching her more closely, noticing things I never did before. The way she's always on her phone, texting someone she claims is a friend. The way her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes when she thinks I'm not looking. I start digging, subtly at first, asking her innocent questions about her past, her friends, her plans for the future. She's careful, though, never giving away too much, always deflecting with a joke or a kiss. One night, after she's fallen asleep, I take a risk. I slip her phone out from under her pillow, my heart pounding in my chest. I scroll through her messages, looking for anything that could give me a clue. But she's smarter than that. The messages are mostly mundane, casual conversations with friends, nothing incriminating. But then I find a message thread with someone named M. The tone is different, more familiar, more intimate. "Everything is going according to plan," one message reads. My blood runs cold. "I'll let you know when it's time." I feel like I'm suffocating, the walls closing in around me. I know I shouldn't be surprised, but seeing it in black and white makes it all the more real. This isn't just some paranoid fantasy. This is happening. I quickly put the phone back and lie there, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. What's the plan? Who is this M? I need answers, but I can't let her know I'm on to her, not until I'm ready. The next day, I decide to take a different approach. I start being more affectionate, more attentive. I shower her with compliments, gifts, anything to throw her off the scent. If she thinks I'm still the clueless, love-struck husband, she might slip up, give me something I can use. It's a dangerous game, but it's the only one I have. I also start gathering evidence. I take screenshots of her messages, make copies of our financial documents, anything that could help me down the line. I don't know what I'll do with it all, but I know I'll need it when the time comes. The tension between us grows, though she seems oblivious to it. Or maybe she's just a better actress than I thought. Every night, I lie awake, waiting for her to fall asleep so I can continue my investigation. I start following her when she goes out, watching her from a distance as she meets with friends or goes shopping. I feel like a stalker, but I don't care. I need to know what she's planning. One evening, I follow her to a small cafe in one of the ports we've docked at. She meets a man there, someone I've never seen before. They sit close, talking quietly, their heads bent together. My heart races as I watch them, every nerve in my body on high alert. They're too far away for me to hear what they're saying, but the way they interact is too intimate for comfort. She touches his arm, laughs at something he says, and I feel a surge of jealousy and rage. But I force myself to stay calm, to stay hidden. When they leave, I follow them at a distance, careful not to be seen. They walk through the narrow streets, eventually stopping at a small hotel. My stomach turns as I watch them go inside. I wait, my mind reeling, trying to figure out what to do next. After a while, they emerge looking relaxed and happy. She kisses him on the cheek before they part ways, and I feel like I'm going to be sick. I return to the ship, my mind a whirlwind of emotions. This isn't just about money anymore. There's something deeper going on, something I need to uncover before it's too late. I can't confront her yet, not until I have all the pieces of the puzzle. But one thing is clear, I'm in way over my head, and if I don't figure this out soon, I'm going to lose everything. I start with her phone. I've memorized her passcode, something I noticed out of the corner of my eye one night when she was distracted by a text. I wait until she's in the shower, then quietly slip it out of her purse. My hands are trembling as I unlock it. I've never done anything like this before. I'm not the type to snoop or pry, but this is different. This is survival. I scroll through her messages first, looking for anything that stands out. Most of it is harmless. Texts from friends, family, a few work emails. But then I find another thread with M, the same person she met at the cafe. My heart pounds as I read through the messages. They're careful, never saying too much, but it's clear there's more going on than just casual conversation. I'm going to need that paperwork soon, one message reads. I want everything in place before we make a move. Don't worry, Emily replies. I've got it under control. Just make sure you're ready when I give the signal. The words send a chill down my spine. Paperwork? What paperwork? And what move are they planning? I take screenshots of the entire conversation, then quickly delete any trace of my snooping. I can't afford to be caught, not when I'm this close to figuring out what she's up to. Over the next few days, I dig deeper. I start checking her emails, her social media accounts, anything that might give me a clue. It's exhausting, pretending everything is fine while secretly piecing together the puzzle of her deceit. I'm barely sleeping, barely eating. My mind is constantly racing, always on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Emily starts to notice the change in me. You've been quiet lately, she says one night as we're lying in bed. Her fingers trail down my chest, sending a shiver through me that's more fear than desire. Just tired, I lie, forcing a smile. It's been a lot, this trip. I think I'm just ready to get back to normal life. She laughs softly, pressing a kiss to my shoulder. Normal life, she repeats, like it's some kind of joke. Don't worry, babe. Everything will be back to normal soon. There's an edge to her voice that makes my skin crawl. I want to push her away, but instead, I pull her closer, burying my face in her hair. I need to keep up the act. I need her to think I'm still under her spell, still clueless and trusting. But every moment with her feels like a knife twisting deeper into my gut. I start following her whenever she leaves the ship. She thinks I'm too busy with work emails or too tired to join her on every excursion. But I'm always close behind, keeping a safe distance. I watch her meet with strangers, always different people, always in different places. I can't hear what they're saying, but I can see the way they exchange documents, the way she slips envelopes into her bag with a casualness that makes my blood boil. One day I decide to take a bigger risk. I wait until she's out and then head to the onboard business center. I log into her email account, praying she hasn't changed the password. She hasn't. I dig through her emails, scanning for anything that might explain the documents and the meetings. I find a folder marked personal and open it, my breath catching in my throat as I see the attachments. Contracts, financial statements, all with my name on them. But these aren't just any documents. They're power of attorney forms, life insurance policies, everything she would need to take control of my assets if something were to happen to me. My hands are shaking as I print out copies, stuffing them into my bag before logging out and erasing my tracks. This is worse than I thought. She's not just planning to leave me. She's planning to take everything and disappear. And if she's going to use these documents, it means she doesn't expect me to be around much longer. I can barely breathe as I make my way back to our cabin. I feel like I'm suffocating under the weight of her lies, her manipulations, but I can't fall apart now. I need to be smart, to figure out how to turn this around before it's too late. That night I lie awake listening to the sound of her breathing beside me. She's so calm, so peaceful, like she doesn't have a care in the world. I wonder how many times she's done this before, how many other men she's duped with her charm and her beauty. The thought makes my skin crawl. I used to think I was lucky to have her, but now I realize I'm just the latest in a long line of suckers. The next morning I decide to confront her, carefully. I need to know more, need to push her without revealing what I've discovered. Over breakfast, I casually bring up the idea of updating our wills, of making sure everything is in order, just in case. Emily's eyes narrow slightly, but she covers it with a smile. That's a good idea, she says, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. You can never be too careful, right? I nod, forcing a laugh. Exactly. We should make sure everything's taken care of while we're still young and healthy. She smiles, but I can see the gears turning in her mind. She's wondering if I suspect something, if I'm on to her. I can't let her see any weakness, any doubt. I need her to believe I'm still the clueless husband, still blindly in love. As the days pass, the tension between us grows. Every conversation feels like a test, every glance like a challenge. I start making preparations of my own, setting up a separate bank account, changing passwords, moving assets out of reach. I'm careful, meticulous, covering my tracks at every turn. I can't afford to make a mistake, not when the stakes are this high. One evening, after a particularly tense dinner, Emily suggests we take a walk on the deck. The night is warm, the ocean calm, but I can't shake the feeling that something is about to happen. We walk in silence, her hand in mine, but there's a distance between us that wasn't there before. I can feel it, like a chasm widening with every step. I've been thinking, she says suddenly, breaking the silence. Maybe we should take a break when we get back. Spend some time apart, clear our heads. My heart skips a beat, but I keep my voice steady. Why would we need that? Is something wrong? She sighs, leaning against the railing, her eyes on the dark water below. I just think we've been under a lot of stress lately. Maybe some space would be good for us. I step closer, my hand tightening on hers. I don't want space, Emily. I want to be with you. I thought that's what you wanted too. She turns to look at me, her expression unreadable. It is. It's just, sometimes I feel like we're moving too fast, like we're rushing into things without really thinking them through. The words sting, but I don't let it show. We've been together for over a year. We're married. This isn't rushing, Emily. This is what we wanted. She looks away, biting her lip. I know, I don't know what I want anymore. I feel a cold knot forming in my stomach. She's slipping away, pulling back, and I can't let her. Not until I know the full extent of her plan. We can talk about it when we get back, I say softly, trying to sound understanding. But right now, let's just enjoy this time together. We're on our honeymoon, Emily. This is supposed to be the happiest time of our lives. She nods, but there's a distance in her eyes that wasn't there before. I lean in, kissing her softly, trying to bridge the gap between us. She responds, but there's a hollowness to it, a lack of passion that makes my heart ache. She's already checked out, already planning her escape. As the night wears on, I can feel the tension building, the unspoken words hanging between us like a storm cloud. We return to our cabin, and she goes to bed early, claiming exhaustion. I watch her for a moment, the way her chest rises and falls with each breath, the way her hair fans out across the pillow. She looks so peaceful, so innocent, but I know better. I know the truth. I spend the night going over everything I've found, piecing together the puzzle of her deception. It's all starting to make sense now. The secret meetings, the documents, the sudden suggestion of taking a break. She's laying the groundwork for her exit, for taking everything I have and leaving me with nothing. But I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not going to let her win. I've come too far, sacrificed too much to let it all slip away because of her lies. I'm going to turn the tables on her, expose her for the fraud she is, and take back control of my life. As I lie in bed staring up at the ceiling, I make a vow to myself. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to survive, and when the dust settles, she'll be the one left with nothing. I can't wait any longer. I have to confront her, and I have to do it tonight. The tension between us has reached a boiling point, and I know that if I don't act now, I might lose my chance. The fear gnaws at me, but so does the anger. I've uncovered enough to know she's dangerous, but there's still a part of me that wants to understand why. How could someone I loved so deeply be capable of such betrayal? I've rehearsed this moment in my head 100 times, but now that it's here, I'm not sure how to start. We're sitting in our cabin, the lights dim, the hum of the ship's engines the only sound filling the silence between us. She's flipping through a magazine, feigning interest, but I can see the tension in her body, the way she's waiting for me to say something. Emily, I start, my voice low, controlled. We need to talk. She looks up, her expression carefully neutral. What about? About us. About everything. She sets the magazine down, her eyes narrowing slightly. What do you mean? I take a deep breath, my heart pounding in my chest. I know about your plan. I know what you've been doing. For a split second, I see it. The flicker of panic in her eyes, the tightening of her jaw. But she recovers quickly, her face smoothing into a mask of innocence. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me, Emily, I say, my voice harder now. I've seen the emails, the contracts, everything. I know you've been planning to take everything from me. She stares at me, her eyes cold and calculating. The facade is gone now, replaced by something darker, more dangerous. And what are you going to do about it? She asks, her voice dripping with contempt. I feel a surge of anger, but I keep it in check. I want to know why. Why would you do this to me? Was any of it real? She laughs, a bitter, hollow sound. You really are naive, aren't you? You think this was some great love story? You were just a means to an end. You made it so easy with your desperation to be loved, to be wanted. I gave you what you needed, and in return, I get everything I want. That's how the world works. Her words cut deeper than any knife could. The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, is gone, replaced by this cold, calculating stranger. I feel the ground slipping out from under me, but I force myself to stay focused. I can't let her see how much this is tearing me apart. You're not going to get away with it, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. I've taken precautions. If anything happens to me, people will know. They'll know it was you. She smiles, a slow, mocking smile that makes my skin crawl. You really think you're in control here? You're in way over your head, darling. I've been doing this a long time. You're not the first and you won't be the last. The weight of her words sinks in, and I realize just how dangerous she really is. I've been playing with fire, and now I'm about to get burned. But I can't back down now. I have to see this through, no matter the cost. I'm not afraid of you, I lie, standing up and crossing the room. But you should be afraid of me. I'm not going to let you destroy me. She watches me, her eyes following my every move, calculating, planning. You're already destroyed, she says softly. You just don't know it yet. There's something in her tone, something that sends a chill down my spine. I've underestimated her, and now I'm paying the price. But I'm not going down without a fight. I want you out, I say, my voice shaking with a mix of fear and anger. I want you gone by tomorrow. She stands up slowly, her expression unreadable. And what if I refuse? What if I decide that you're more useful to me alive than dead? The implication of her words hits me like a punch to the gut. She's already considered this, already planned for it. I've walked right into her trap, and now I'm at her mercy. You wouldn't dare, I say, but the tremor in my voice betrays my fear. She steps closer, her eyes locked on mine, and I can feel the heat radiating off her. You have no idea what I'm capable of, she whispers, her breath hot against my skin. But you're about to find out. Before I can react, she grabs the front of my shirt, pulling me towards her. Her lips crash against mine, fierce and demanding, and I'm caught off guard by the sudden shift in her demeanor. It's like she's trying to remind me of the power she has over me, the control she's always had. I try to push her away, but she holds on tight, her nails digging into my skin. The kiss is bruising, almost violent, and I can feel the desperation in her touch. It's as if she's trying to exert one last bit of dominance, to make me submit to her will. But I won't. Not anymore. I shove her away, hard, and she stumbles back, a look of shock crossing her face. Don't touch me, I hiss, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand. You're disgusting. Her expression hardens, and I can see the anger boiling beneath the surface. You'll regret that, she says, her voice low and dangerous. Maybe, I say, my own anger rising to match hers, but at least I'll be free of you. She glares at me, her eyes burning with fury. You think you're so smart, don't you? You think you've outplayed me, but you have no idea what's coming. The threat hangs in the air between us, heavy and oppressive. I know I've pushed her too far, that I've crossed a line I can't uncross. But I don't care. I'm done being her pawn, her victim. I'm taking back control, no matter what it takes. Get out, I say again, my voice cold and final. Before I make you. She doesn't move for a moment, just stands there, glaring at me with a hatred that chills me to the bone. Then slowly she turns and walks out of the room, slamming the door behind her. I collapse onto the bed, my body trembling with a mix of adrenaline and fear. I've done it. I've confronted her, and I've survived. But as I sit there in the silence, I can't shake the feeling that this isn't over. That she's not done with me yet. I don't sleep that night. I lie awake, my mind racing with thoughts of what she might do next. Every sound, every creak of the ship sets my nerves on edge. I expect her to burst back into the room at any moment, to try and finish what she started. But she doesn't. Morning comes and I'm exhausted, drained from the night of sleepless vigilance. I force myself out of bed, knowing I need to stay alert, stay one step ahead of her. I don't know what she's planning, but I know I need to be ready for anything. I spend the day making preparations, contacting my lawyer, moving assets, anything I can do to protect myself. I'm running on fumes, my nerves frayed, but I push through it. I have to. If I let my guard down now, she'll strike. As the day wears on, I start to wonder if she's really gone, if she's finally given up. But something in my gut tells me it's not that simple. She's too smart, too calculating to just walk away. It's late afternoon when I finally get a message from her. Just a simple text. Meet me on the deck at sunset. We need to talk. My heart races as I read it, 1,000 thoughts running through my mind. Is this a trap? Is she trying to lure me into something? But I know I can't ignore it. I have to see this through, whatever the cost. The sun is just beginning to dip below the horizon as I step out onto the deck. The air is cool, the sky streaked with shades of orange and pink. It would be beautiful if not for the dread curling in my stomach. I see her standing by the railing, her back to me, her hair blowing in the breeze. She looks so serene, so at peace, that for a moment I almost believe she's had a change of heart. But I know better. I approach cautiously, my muscles tense, ready for anything. "You wanted to talk?" I say, my voice betraying none of the fear swirling inside me. She turns to face me, and I can see the glint of something in her hand. My breath catches in my throat as I realize what it is. A small vial filled with a clear liquid. "This is how it ends," she says, her voice calm, almost sad. "For both of us." I freeze, my mind racing. "What are you talking about?" She steps closer, holding the vial out towards me. "You drink this, and it's over. No more games, no more pain. Just peace." I stare at her, my heart pounding. And what happens if I don't? I stare at the vial in her hand, my mind racing. I have to think fast, but my thoughts are a blur. She's pushed me into a corner, but I'm not going to let her win. Not like this. "What happens if I don't drink it?" I ask, keeping my voice steady, hiding the fear gnawing at my insides. She tilts her head, considering me with those cold, calculating eyes. "Then I'll have to find another way to get what I want. But let's not make this harder than it has to be, darling. You've already lost. Just accept it." I step closer, keeping my movements slow and deliberate. I can't afford to let her see any sign of weakness. "You think you've won, but you haven't. You're not going to get away with this." She laughs, a low mocking sound. "Oh, but I already have. You're in the middle of the ocean, with nowhere to run, no one to help you. It's over and you know it." She's right about one thing. I'm alone out here, but I'm not helpless. I've been planning for this, preparing for this moment. I just need to play my cards right. "You've underestimated me," I say, taking another step closer, my eyes locked on hers. "I've been one step ahead of you this whole time." Her smile falters, just for a second, but it's enough to give me the confidence I need. "What are you talking about?" I reach into my pocket and pull out my phone, showing her the screen. "I've recorded everything, every conversation, every threat. It's all backed up, sent to multiple locations. If anything happens to me, the truth comes out." For the first time, I see a flicker of doubt in her eyes. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" I challenge, holding the phone up. "Do you really want to take that risk?" She hesitates, her eyes darting between me and the phone. I can see her weighing her options, calculating the odds. For a moment, I think she's going to call my bluff, but then she lowers the vial, her expression hardening. "This isn't over," she says, her voice cold as ice. "You might think you've won, but I always find a way to get what I want." "Not this time," I say, my voice firm. "This time you've lost." She stares at me, her eyes burning with hatred. I can feel the tension between us, like a coiled spring ready to snap. But I stand my ground, refusing to back down. I can't let her see the fear still churning inside me. Finally, she turns and walks away, disappearing into the shadows. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding, my hands shaking with the adrenaline coursing through me. I did it. I outplayed her, but the danger isn't over yet. I know she's not going to give up that easily. I spend the next few hours making sure all my preparations are in place. I send the recordings and documents to my lawyer, along with a detailed account of everything that's happened. I'm not taking any chances. If she tries anything, I want to make sure the authorities have everything they need to stop her. But as the hours tick by, the anxiety gnaws at me. I keep replaying our confrontation in my mind, wondering if I've really done enough to protect myself. She's dangerous, and I can't afford to underestimate her again. Night falls and the ship is quiet, the only sound the gentle lapping of the waves against the hull. I can't sleep, too wired from everything that's happened. I pace the cabin, my mind racing with all the possibilities, all the ways this could still go wrong. Then just after midnight, there's a knock at the door. My heart leaps into my throat, but I force myself to stay calm. I check the peephole and see a crew member standing there, a concerned expression on his face. "Sir?" he says when I open the door. "There's been an incident. We need you to come with us." I follow him down the narrow corridors, my mind spinning with fear and confusion. What's happened? Is this part of her plan? As we reach the deck, I see a group of people gathered near the railing, their faces pale and shocked. The crew member leads me through the crowd, and that's when I see her. Emily lying on the deck, her body motionless, eyes staring blankly up at the night sky. "She fell," someone whispers. "She just fell." My mind goes numb, the world tilting on its axis. I kneel beside her, my hands shaking as I reach out to touch her. She's cold, her skin like ice. There's no pulse, no sign of life. "She's gone," the crew member says quietly, his hand on my shoulder. I'm sorry. I don't hear him. I can't hear anything but the roar of blood in my ears, the deafening silence of the night. She's dead. Just like that, it's over. But as I stare down at her lifeless body, a sickening realization hits me. This wasn't an accident. She planned this. She set me up one last time, and now everyone will think I pushed her. Panic claws at my throat, but I force it down. I can't afford to lose control now. I have to think, have to figure out what to do. I've already sent everything to my lawyer, but will it be enough? Will anyone believe me? The questions swirl in my mind as the crew takes over, calling for the authorities, securing the scene. I'm led away, back to my cabin, but my thoughts are a jumbled mess. This was her final move, her final act of control. Even in death, she's found a way to trap me. The next few days are a blur of interrogations, investigations, and endless waiting. I tell the authorities everything, show them the recordings, the documents, but I can see the doubt in their eyes. They think I'm just another guilty husband, trying to cover his tracks, but I refuse to give up. I fight tooth and nail for the truth to come out. I hire the best lawyer I can find, someone who believes me, who's willing to take on the fight. It's a battle of wills, a test of endurance, but I can't let her win. Not like this. The trial is grueling, every moment a painful reminder of everything I've lost. The prosecution paints me as a monster, a cold-blooded killer who wanted his wife out of the way. They twist the evidence, manipulate the facts, trying to turn the jury against me. But my lawyer fights back, tearing their arguments apart piece by piece. He presents the evidence I've gathered, the recordings, the documents, showing the truth of what she was planning. It's a tense, brutal battle, but slowly I start to see the tide turning in my favor. The trial drags on for weeks, every day a new nightmare, but I hold on to the hope that justice will prevail. I testify, laying everything out for the jury, bearing my soul in a desperate attempt to make them see the truth. Finally, the day of the verdict arrives. I sit in the courtroom, my heart pounding in my chest as the jury files in, their expressions unreadable. The judge asks if they've reached a decision, and the foreman stands, holding the piece of paper that will determine my fate. We find the defendant, not guilty. The words hit me like a sledgehammer, a wave of relief so powerful it almost knocks me off my feet. I'm free. I've won. But as the courtroom erupts around me, I can't shake the hollow feeling in my chest. I've survived, but at what cost? I've lost everything. My wife, my life, my sense of trust. The victory feels empty, a bitter reminder of everything I've been through. As I walk out of the courtroom, the sun shining down on me for the first time in what feels like forever, I take a deep breath, trying to let go of the weight that's been crushing me for so long. It's over. She's gone. But the scars she's left behind will never fully heal. I know I need to move forward, to rebuild my life from the ashes she left behind. But as I walk away from the courthouse, a free man, I can't help but wonder if I'll ever truly be free of her shadow. In the days following the trial, I'm left to pick up the pieces of what's left of my life. The world moves on, as it always does, but I feel stuck in a strange limbo. People see the headlines, they hear the verdict, but they don't know the full story. They don't know what it's like to live through what I did. The looks I get on the street, the whispers behind my back, they remind me that in many ways I'm still on trial. I can't escape the memories. They haunt me, especially at night. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment over and over. The things she said, the way she manipulated me, the final sickening realization that I'd been nothing more than a pawn in her twisted game. It's like a scar that won't heal, a wound that keeps reopening. I try to distract myself with work, with routine, but it's impossible to shake the feeling that I'm just going through the motions. I've become a shadow of who I used to be, paranoid, distrustful, constantly looking over my shoulder. It's exhausting living like this, but I don't know how to turn it off. I don't know how to let go. One day I find myself walking through the city, aimless, lost in thought. I pass by a cafe and see couples sitting together, laughing, holding hands, living the kind of life I thought I had. It hits me like a punch to the gut, the stark contrast between their happiness and my own emptiness. I can't help but wonder if I'll ever have that again, if I'll ever be able to trust someone like that. I sit down on a bench, watching the world go by, feeling like an outsider in my own life. I know I can't keep living like this, that something has to change, but I don't know where to start. The thought of opening myself up to someone else, of risking this kind of pain again, terrifies me. But the alternative, living the rest of my life alone, consumed by bitterness and fear, seems even worse. It's not just the emotional scars that linger. There are practical consequences too, things I never expected to have to deal with. The legal mess left in the wake of her death, the financial fallout, the way my reputation has been dragged through the mud, it all adds up, creating a constant weight on my shoulders. I'm drowning in paperwork, in meetings with lawyers and accountants, trying to untangle the web she left behind. But the hardest part by far is dealing with the emptiness, the silence in the house, the cold, lonely nights, the absence of her presence. Even after everything, I miss her, or at least I miss the person I thought she was. It's a cruel irony, loving someone who never existed, grieving for a life that was nothing but a lie. I start seeing a therapist, hoping to make sense of the chaos in my head. It's slow going, but it helps, bit by bit. I talk about the anger, the betrayal, the guilt. I talk about the nightmares, the panic attacks, the overwhelming sense of loss. And slowly I start to feel like maybe, just maybe, I can come out the other side of this. There are moments when I feel a glimmer of hope, a brief flicker of what life could be like if I let go of the past. I imagine rebuilding, starting over, finding a way to trust again, but it's hard, so damn hard. Every time I take a step forward, the memories pull me back, reminding me of what I've lost, of what I've become. One evening, I'm sitting in my living room, surrounded by the remnants of a life that no longer feels like mine. I'm holding a glass of whiskey, staring at the wedding photo I still haven't had the courage to take down. Her smile so radiant, so full of life. It's like a slap in the face, a reminder of everything I was blind to. I think about smashing the photo, about burning every last reminder of her, but I can't bring myself to do it. As much as I hate her for what she did, as much as I despise the way she tore my life apart, there's still a part of me that can't let go. Maybe it's because letting go means admitting that it was all for nothing, that the love I felt was just an illusion, and I'm not ready to face that. But I know I can't keep living like this. I can't keep clinging to the past, to the ghosts of what might have been. I have to find a way to move forward, to start living again, instead of just surviving. The next day, I make a decision. I pack up the photos, the mementos, the things that tie me to her. I put them in a box and store it in the attic, out of sight, out of mind. It's a small step, but it feels like progress, like maybe I'm finally starting to heal. I start focusing on myself, on rebuilding my life. I throw myself into work, into hobbies, into anything that helps me feel like I'm moving forward. I start exercising again, eating better, taking care of myself in ways I haven't in months. It's not easy, and there are days when it feels like I'm just going through the motions, but I keep pushing forward. I make an effort to reconnect with friends, to surround myself with people who care about me, who remind me of who I was before all this. They're patient with me, understanding, giving me the space I need to heal at my own pace. And slowly I start to feel like maybe, just maybe, I'm not as alone as I thought. One night, I'm out with a group of friends, something I haven't done in ages. We're at a bar, laughing, talking, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm part of the world again, like I'm living instead of just existing. It's a small victory, but it feels monumental. As the night wears on, I find myself talking to a woman at the bar. She's kind, funny, easy to talk to. There's a spark there, something I haven't felt in a long time. But even as we talk, even as I feel that flicker of interest, the fear creeps in, the doubts, the memories of what happened last time. I can't help but wonder if I'll ever be able to fully trust someone again, if I'll ever be able to open myself up without the constant fear of betrayal. But I remind myself that this is part of the process, that healing takes time, and that it's okay to be cautious, to take things slow. I don't have to rush into anything, don't have to force myself to move on before I'm ready. For now, it's enough to know that I'm capable of feeling something again, that I'm not completely broken. As I walk home that night, I feel a strange sense of peace, like maybe I'm finally starting to find my way out of the darkness. The road ahead is still long, still filled with challenges, but for the first time, I feel like I'm ready to face them. In the weeks that follow, I continue to focus on myself, on rebuilding, on finding a new sense of normalcy. I start setting goals, making plans for the future, things I haven't done in what feels like forever. It's not about erasing the past, but about building a new life on my terms, a life that's not defined by what she did to me. There are setbacks, of course, moments when the pain comes rushing back, when the memories threaten to overwhelm me. But I've learned how to cope, how to push through, how to remind myself that I'm stronger than this, that I've survived worse, and gradually the scars start to fade. They'll never fully disappear, I know that, but they don't control me anymore. They're just part of who I am, part of my story, but not the whole of it. One day I find myself standing in front of the mirror, looking at the person staring back at me. I don't recognize him fully yet, but that's okay. I'm still figuring out who I am, still piecing together the fragments of my life. But I'm getting there, step by step. I know I'll never be the same person I was before all this happened. That man is gone, and in his place is someone stronger, wiser, maybe a little more guarded, but also more resilient. I've been through hell, but I've come out the other side, and that's something. As I step out into the world, ready to face whatever comes next, I feel a sense of closure, of peace. The past will always be with me, but it doesn't define me. I'm in control now, and I'm ready to start living again, on my terms. And that's enough. For now, that's enough. It's been months since the trial ended, but it feels like a lifetime. The world around me has moved on, but I'm still here, trying to make sense of everything that happened. I've spent so many nights staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, every decision, wondering if I could have done something differently. But I know those thoughts are a trap. What's done is done. I need to focus on the future, on what comes next. I've learned a lot about myself during this time. I've learned how easily I can be deceived, how blind love can make me. But I've also learned that I'm stronger than I ever imagined. I survived her. I survived the lies, the manipulation, the betrayal, and I'm still standing. The scars she left behind will never fully heal. I've accepted that. There are days when the pain is just as sharp as it was in the beginning, when the memories come rushing back and threaten to pull me under. But I'm getting better at pushing them away, at focusing on the present instead of the past. I've started to rebuild my life piece by piece. It's not easy, but I'm determined. I've reconnected with old friends, thrown myself into work, and even started dating again. It's strange, being with someone new, trying to open myself up after everything that happened. But I'm taking it slow, being careful, letting myself feel things at my own pace. There are moments of fear, of doubt, when I wonder if I'll ever be able to fully trust again. But I remind myself that healing takes time, that it's okay to be cautious, to take things one step at a time. I don't have to rush. I'm not the same person I was before all this, and that's okay. I've been through hell, and I've come out the other side. That's something to be proud of. The lessons I've learned from this experience are ones I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. I've learned to trust my instincts, to pay attention to the red flags, to never ignore that nagging feeling in the back of my mind. I've learned that love shouldn't be blind, that it's okay to question, to protect myself, and I've learned that I'm capable of more than I ever thought possible. As I look toward the future, I feel a cautious sense of optimism. I'm not the same person I was, but that's a good thing. I'm wiser now, more resilient, more aware of the world around me. I know there will be challenges ahead, that life will never be simple or easy, but I'm ready to face whatever comes my way. I've started making plans, setting goals for myself. I want to travel, to see the world, to experience life in a way I never have before. I want to build something new, something that's mine, something that no one can take away from me. I want to find joy again, to find love, to live a life that's full and rich and meaningful. But I know that I can't do it alone. I've learned that I need people in my life, that I can't shut myself off from the world. I've started reaching out, reconnecting with those who were there for me during the darkest times. I'm building a support system, surrounding myself with people who care about me, who want to see me succeed. There are days when the shadows of the past still loom large, when the memories of her and everything she did threaten to overwhelm me. But I've learned how to push through those moments, how to remind myself that I'm in control now, that I have the power to shape my own future. And that's what I'm doing. I'm taking control, taking back my life, step by step, day by day. I'm not defined by what she did to me. I'm defined by how I've responded, by the choices I've made since then, by the person I'm becoming. As I stand here, on the brink of a new chapter in my life, I feel a sense of closure, of peace. The past will always be with me, a part of who I am, but it doesn't define me. I'm ready to move forward, to leave behind the darkness, to embrace the possibilities of the future. I know there will be challenges ahead, that life will never be easy, but I'm ready. I'm stronger now, more resilient, more aware of my own worth. I've survived the worst, and I've come out the other side with a renewed sense of purpose. I'm ready to start living again, to find joy, to find love, to build a life that's rich and meaningful. I'm ready to face the future with open eyes, with a heart that's been broken but is still capable of love, with a mind that's wiser and more resilient. This is my life, and I'm ready to live it on my own terms. I'm ready to move forward, to leave behind the shadows of the past and to embrace the possibilities of the future. I'm ready to start a new chapter, one that's defined by hope, by strength, by resilience. And that's enough. For now, that's enough.